Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Grade A's Attorney. It is time for Investigation Day 2. Let's go. Whew. We made it back in one piece. Just. To be perfectly honest, I thought we were finished there for a while. Oh, I know. What a lot of close shaves. There are so many carriages on the streets of London, you were very nearly flattened several times. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Yes, I know. It was a marvelous defense, Naruhodo-san, it really was. I was in awe of you. Oh, thank you. And now that your fervent exploits have won us some more precious investigation time, let's see if we can't find some new clues for court tomorrow. Yes, let's do that. Is everything alright? I suppose. I still can't quite believe it, that's all. That I'm here in England, working as a lawyer, I mean. In the Old Bailey, no less. The truth is, it shouldn't be me, should it? It should be him standing in my shoes. It should be Kazuma. It was Kazuma-sama's wish that you follow him to Great Britain and work alongside him. Yes, I mean, I never had the chance to ask him directly why, but he clearly had a plan. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. And you're doing wonderfully, Naruhodo-san. I've no doubt that Kazuma-sama would say exactly the same if he were here with us. Thank you, Susato-san. Thank you. Maybe we can actually converse with, we can actually talk a little bit. It was quite a shock earlier today, wasn't it? When the victim himself turned up in court and took the stand. I know. Not only that, but then finding out he is actually a barefaced gas thief as well. Yes, it was certainly a surprise to us all. For a while, it seemed as though everyone had quite forgotten about Sosaki-san poisoning the tea. Careful of your phrasing, Susato-san. He didn't poison anything. And there's more to this Mr. Shamspear than we yet know, I'm sure of it. Mr. Shamspear certainly wasn't the noble, upstanding man everyone thought he was at first. What's become of him, actually? I was told that he'd be returning to the hospital ward where he was receiving treatment. Oh, which one is that? Let me see. Ah yes, he's at St. Bartholomew's. Or Bart's as Londoners call it. We know that place, don't we? Yes, we visited Miss Green there yesterday. It's the same hospital to which she was taken. Ah yes, after Sosaki-san stabbed her in the back. Do be careful of your phrasing, Naruhodo-san. He didn't stab anyone. Perhaps we both owe Sosaki-san an apology. St. Bartholomew's. Yes, we should probably visit the hospital later. We're gonna get to interview him? That's gonna be cool. So, we know that Sosaki-san took tea to the victim on the night in question. But as he isn't the culprit, then obviously... Yes, the poison surely wasn't in the tea. But if that's the case... How on earth did the poison get into Mr. Shamspear's body? I'm sure we'll find a clue at the scene. There must be something in Mr. Shamspear's room that will help solve the mystery. Well, naturally Scotland Yard detectives have been over the place already. But it couldn't hurt for us to have another look around, I think. Definitely. And I'm desperate to know the outcome of the investigation into the tea left in the bar or so. Well, if we run into Inspector Gregson, we could ask him about that. Kazuma's wishes. Kazuma Asogi, the best friend I ever had, and a lawyer with such a promise. He really saved my bacon in that horrible incident just before we left Japan. I can still picture him now, looking so fierce and determined in court. And then after the trial, that crazy idea he came up with. As a stowaway? Yes, you can fit inside my trunk if you curl up small enough, I'm sure. No one will know. Kazuma, won't you tell me why? Why go to these lengths so that I can accompany you to Great Britain? Well, it's been on my mind ever since we got through that trial. That you really ought to go into law. Be a defense lawyer. You've got a natural talent for it. Believe me, I guarantee it. But I've never even thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, I can't force you, obviously. You have to decide for yourself. But anyway, London is the cultural capital of the world. The city at the forefront of everything. It can't hurt for you to see it with your own eyes. No, that's true. I suppose, though, if you were to become a lawyer, then one day... One day what? Oh, no. Never mind. One day you will have a descendant that is also a defense lawyer, although he was originally an art major. Ha 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 ha. Naruhodo-san. Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about Kazuma. Yes, he's forever in my thoughts too. To change the Japanese judicial system for the better. That was his dream. And that's why he so desperately wanted to come to Great Britain to study, of course. Yes, that's right. But... Yes? One day your last name would change from Naruhodo to Wright. I do wonder if his true intentions lay elsewhere sometimes. I don't know. Thought just takes hold of me every now and then, that's all. Naruhodo-san, what do you mean by Kazuma-sama's true intentions? I mean this. Oh wow, I've never seen the first-person animation utilized like this before. It's katana. I never expected to inherit the sword after Kazuma passed away, of course. No, I know. It was because I asked you to take it. When I have it at my side in court, I feel as though it gives me courage. Yes. Actually, the night before he died, he told me a little about the sword. It contains a great power and it's able to cut through dimensions. It's called the Yamato. The previous wielder said it gave him great motivation. Karuma. Karuma Kenji. That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. Von Karma. When you hold the sword, you can almost hear the sound of plastic chairs scraping the floor. So its name compelled its wielder to slice evil in two. Not that you would need much compelling. Judgment Gut. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. Something you have to do. Yes. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. So he has a DL6 incident that he was investigating, I bet, and we'll have to uncover that part of it too. What did he mean by something very important that I have to do? I had hoped that the answer to the question would have become apparent when we arrived here, but as yet I've not found a single clue. I see. Well, he's like Miyafei, I guess, you know. Died in case 2, has ties to a greater thing that they were investigating. Probably died because of that thing they were investigating. So, you know. Anyway, before we go. Present. You've been wearing that ever since we arrived in Great Britain, haven't you? Well, it's what shows I'm a lawyer, so it seems appropriate. I'm not sure that it really means much in this country though, I'm afraid. I wouldn't say that. It might not be official, but it looks official. Often when the police stop me, I just show them this and they leave me alone. You're stopped by the police? Often. Well, you know, I'm a suspicious foreigner dressed all in black with a sword at my side. I do think it's probably the sword that's the main reason. Still, it makes me happy to see you wearing it. And the armband. Yes, I made up my mind that I'll carry them always. The symbol of who I am, and the sword, Von Karma. Okay. We've presented the attorney's badge, we can move now. Right. Let's go say, yeah, we'll go say hi to Sholmes if he's around, we'll see if he's around. Oh, Runo and Susie. Hooray, you're back! Hello, Iris. You're in fine spirits as always, I see. I am, and you look as immaculately presented as ever, Susie. Oh, you flatter me. Well, you couldn't have come at a better time. I've just made a pot of tea. I'll set up some cups. Really? Thanks, Iris. But actually, what is that foul smell? Aha! The Wanderers return at last. Where on earth have the pair of you been? We've been in court? Oh, for Mr. Mustache's case. That was today, was it? I'm sure I mentioned it only yesterday, Mr. Sholmes. I'm sure you think you did. Well, we can laugh about it now. So tell me, how did the trial go? Reasonably well so far. We've managed to escape without a guilty verdict at least. Really? I would have liked to see it. And I must pass the time of day with Mr. Reaper again. It's been too long. Is Lord Van Zeeks an acquaintance, Mr. Sholmes? Naturally. There's not a person in the world who doesn't know my name, Mr. Naruhodo. Not quite what I asked, but still. Mr. Sholmes. Whatever is that odor? Yes, what is it? It's faint, but absolutely awful. Ah, indeed. That's the scent of victory, my dear fellows. Victory in science. Oh dear. Alright, I'll bite. What's he up to now? Alright, Lord Van Zeeks. Lord Baroque Van Zeeks. Yes, it's an interesting sobriquet he has, isn't it? The Reaper of the Bailey. Once the legendary prosecutor has fought for someone's conviction, that person is doomed. Even if he or she is found not guilty by the courts. Sooner or later, the hapless soul will vanish from the capital. Vanish how exactly? By falling under a passing carriage, or drowning in the Thames, or succumbing to a sudden fever, or quite out of the blue, being set upon by a highwayman. There are numerous routes to one's final terminus, my dear fellow. It all seems a little far-fetched, really. Well, on the bright side, Mr. Mustache is fighting fit. For the time being, at least. And that's not overly reassuring. If the rumors are true, though, the obvious conclusion would surely be that those acquitted are, well, by Lord Van Zeek's own hand. As it happens, Miss Susato, that is quite impossible. Oh, why? Naturally, the man very quickly came under such suspicion. However, whenever these incidents occurred, the Reaper always had a cast-iron alibi. Really? And so his reign continued. But 5 years ago, he vanished from the courts, never to appear as a prosecutor again. That is, until you arrived in the country, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, so I've heard. In fact, it was the very day I arrived when I was thrust into the trial at the Old Bailey. That bitter fight to the death coincided with the Reaper's resurrection. And really, did end bitterly indeed. And here you are, facing Mr. Reaper again. Poor Runo. I don't know if you're just incredibly unlucky, or incredibly unlikable. I think it goes deeper than just me. I sense a general loathing of all Japanese people. Alright, let's talk about the foul smell first. So, what is that indescribably foul smell? Ah, well, most probably this, I would say. What is that? My dear fellow, it is of course my latest invention. A chemical test that can identify whether or not a tea is genuine at the drop of some tea. Oh my! There are some unscrupulous sorts manning the stalls along some of London's less frequented streets. They regularly sell what purports to be high-quality tea, but is in fact merely dyed leaves of drab flavor. Well, that's certainly unsavory behavior. So, when one is presented with what appears to be black tea, one must be careful. Iris! At the ready, Hurley. Let us add a drop of my chemical to this cup of tea. Do you see what happens? It's turned completely black. And what a foul odor it's giving off. Indeed, the blacker the tea becomes and the more foul the odor, the better the tea is. It would appear that this cup was a particularly fine Darjeeling. That's very ingenious. But what do you do with the black liquid now? Why, dispose of it, naturally. Surely you wouldn't like to drink it, would you? There does seem to be a rather obvious problem with the new invention, Mr. Sholmes. Hence why this chemical test is merely a test, my dear madame. Right. The point is, we are entering a new era of science. And the world of criminal investigation also. Yes, forensic science. Oh, these are such exciting times. I regularly engage in scientific experimentation alongside my unofficial consulting detective work. The Herlock Sholmes method will be the foundation upon which modern investigative techniques is based. This little tea indicant was a happy byproduct of my ongoing forensic science research. Forensic science. I suppose I should find out more about that. Opening up more topics of discussion. With Mr. Natsume, who I'm currently defending, being Japanese as well as Mr. Sato and myself, I felt it even more keenly in court today. For some reason, Lord Van Zeek seems to have an inherent disdain of the Japanese. Indeed, it is an interesting observation. Do you know something about it? Do you, Mr. Sholmes? It was about 10 years ago that Baroque Van Zeeks chose to enter the legal profession. However, before that time, the young man's closest companion hailed from the Empire of Japan. No! What the? Tell us more, Mr. Sholmes. What happened? I believe I've made it clear before. I'm unable to tell you anything about the affair. Oh, but... the veil will be lifted on the events of the past in due course. I have no doubt. For now, however, it is Mr. Moustache who is most deserving of your attention, I believe. Alright then, keep your secrets. So, your t-test. Is that an example of forensic science? Indeed it is! An essential tool in cases that hinge on the knowledge of whether some tea is of high or inferior quality. Not a huge number of cases then. Perhaps a more practical example is required. Fingerprints? Not yet accepted in our courts as evidence, I might add. Really, we are dragging our heels there. I hadn't even heard of them until recently. Which is partly why I undertake research in this field myself, of course. Does that mean you're studying fingerprints, Mr. Sholmes? There are others in that field already, and I abhor the company of inferior minds. No, what I am researching is skin prints. Skin prints? A nomenclature of my own design, as is this chemical agent that makes it possible. It instantly reveals objects touched by whichever person is under investigation. Brilliant, Mr. Sholmes! As long as it doesn't turn everything completely odorous and black. I assure you, my dear fellows, you will witness my forensic talents in action very soon indeed. Whether the court accepts them is another question, though. Well, I think we should go back to the scene and see if we can uncover any new clues. That's the spirit, Runo. See you later. Yes, until later. No, Mr. Sholmes, we were thinking you'd come with us. You were? Yes, of course. You said so just a moment ago. You said we witnessed your forensic talents in action. Ah, yes. I do recall saying something along those lines. But you go on ahead. I shall be sure to follow you later. In all likelihood. Probably. Maybe. Well, I might. His steam instantly petering out. Your commitment astounds me. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes. We'll eagerly await your arrival. Bye-bye, Runo. Bye, Susie. Alright. Hospital bit? Or the crime scene first? You know what? Let's go to the hospital first. I want to see more. I want to see more of Mr. Shamspear. The rat's still there. What do you suppose is happening? It sounds like some sort of disturbance. Yes, I hear angry voices. Be not angry, O ample lady. Verily, thou art mistaken. Mistaken, my foot! You are looking at my painting! The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. 'Twas foul indeed, the poison that moustache villain gave of me. Forgive me, lady. I wish that he died from that poison. God a mercy, ample lady. But thou seest, I have vigor still. Behold, my Shamspear dance. This looks rather ominous, doesn't it? Ah! Lo, 'tis the lawyer from the land whence riseth the sun. How now? What are you doing here, Mrs. Shamspear? Mary, I do believe I am returned unto another ward. He was looking, that's what he was doing. Looking at my terrible work. And she's holding it like a sword and shield. Eastern fellow so darkly clad. Faith, thy work in court this morning was wonderful. I do applaud thee. Oh, well, thank you. But that doesn't mean things will go so wonderfully for you tomorrow, does it? You know, that's a very minor thing, but I think that's actually... There might be a Holmes reference. Yeah, okay, so this one isn't... I'm not 100% certain on this one since it is a pretty generic action. But in one of the Holmes stories, one of the villains went up to Holmes' suite and tried to intimidate him by grabbing a fire poker and bending it in front of him to show off his strength. It's like, you see this? This is how I can fold you as well, Holmes. And then he leaves, and then Holmes like takes the stick and then he unbends it himself. And like, well, he will find that his strength his grip strength will be equal to mine. Stuff like that. So him Shamspear bending and then unbending that rod made me think of that. God, I am such a nerd. Anyway, anon, exeunt. And he's gone. Mrs. Shamspear might technically be the victim in this case, but there's definitely a lot more to it than that. It's very hard to pin the man down. I'm so sorry. I'm such an awful person. Ah, Miss Green. Is everything alright? Oh, yes. I mean, don't worry about me. They're about to discharge me, so I must get ready to leave now. Oh, I see. We're delighted that you'll soon be well enough to go home, Miss Green. Oh dear, you're too kind. I don't deserve it. Alright, can examine the area again. Yeah, we're just not questioning the... We are not questioning the rat. So, are you feeling more like yourself today, Miss Green? I am. Thank you. I mean, people do recover from ordeals like this, don't they? Even people like me. Well, yes. It really was an ordeal, wasn't it? As far as I was concerned, I was just walking along in the snow one evening, minding my own business. And then, completely out of the blue, I was struck in the back by a knife and collapsed unconscious for days. Of course, when I finally woke up again yesterday, the whole business had been cleared up already. What a terrible week it's been for you. Oh no. I'm sure I'm very lucky, really. I'll look back on this fondly. Really? Anyway, I must be getting my things together now, so I'm ready to be discharged. Oh yes, of course. Sorry to take up your time when you're obviously busy. Alright, anything new to look at? Yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, we'll go check on Soseki-san as well before we head back to the crime scene. Oh, Mr. Natsume is back. So he is. Mr. Natsume, hello. Waga! Waga hai wa neko de... Dearu. Sorry? I don't know who Mr. Natsume is, or Hairlock Sholmes. I don't know about coats, or trowels, or Old Baileys. Waga hai wa neko dearu. That's what I am. Just a cat. Mr. Naruhodo, he's trying to escape from reality. Trying to? He already has, completely. So, what is your name then? As yet I have no name. It's true. The cat in I Am a Cat has no name. Mr. Naruhodo, he hasn't fully thought out his new identity yet. Maybe it's not too late to bring him back to reality. Do you think you could open your eyes for us, Mr. Natsume? I am not a cat. Then JP quotes from the actual book. Probably. It worked! He's back in the real world. What's going to become of me? No! Don't answer that! It's obvious! My accursed soul is never going to escape this accursed fate! Mr. Natsume, no! This morning's proceedings in court prove that there's hope! Yes. Locum stood and Mr. Naruhodo Esquire was brilliant, but... The Reaper is omnipresent, in court, in my lodgings! Here, there, everywhere! What's he looking straight at me for? I think perhaps there are some things we should discuss. Oh, yes. Yes, we must. Alright, stop. In my whole life, have I ever been so moved as I was today? No! Of course, if I cast my mind back, there were perhaps one or two other occasions that moved me more. But if I just block those out, and today, being in that courtroom was... It was the most moving experience of my life! Locum stood at Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! You're too kind. Scotland Yard found the remaining tea just as we deduced, and are analyzing it as we speak. There's nothing wrong with that tea. They won't find a drop of poison in it. That's solemn, sworn, Soseki certainty. Tell me, did you both drink the tea at the same time that night? Oh yes, most definitely. Remember, drink tea while it's hot. We both poured it down our throats like it was a hot bath for our bellies. And at the time, you were both completely fine. As shown by the fact that he and Mr. Chelmsford then engaged in the Romeo and Juliet match. I suppose the focus of tomorrow's proceedings would be how the poison was taken by the victim then. That rotten Chelmsford! What have I ever done to him? You don't recall him taking issue with you over anything you've done recently? I've been holed up in my room, immersed in books. I don't recall anything. Anything at all! Right. But what I don't understand is why he didn't let me know sooner. Let you know what, Mr. Natsume? About soap, of course! What else? Oh dear. Are you struggling with such a meager stipend? Of course I am. If I had money. I wouldn't have chosen to live an accursed existence in such accursed lodgings. Oh yes. You said it's because the place is cursed that it's so cheap, didn't you? Exactly. Especially the room that I rent. The spirit of the capital offender who lived there still haunts the place. And it's trying to kill me! Capital offender? Might I ask, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, that the next time you visit me, you bring scrolls of super soft soaps? Sosaki-san, that's illegal. You will actually end up in prison if you do that. Alright, I'll present a few things to him, I guess. Mr. Natsume, about this receipt. It occurs to me now. There was those confounded books that saw me arrested the first time too. Oh yes, suppose that's true. After I spent my precious pennies on them, that's the thanks I get. Now I don't know when I'll read them. Oh wait, yeah, we presented this already. I don't think you can blame the books for that one, yeah. Well, we've got some new evidence. Do you know anything about this? What about this? Doesn't know anything about the teacups either. Anything to say about the soap? Mr. Natsume, what do you know about this? Ah, there it is! That laddery lowlife that took my neighbor's life and sent me sliding to the depths of despair! Slippery, sickly, psychotic saboteur! You've really gone off soap, haven't you? Absolutely. I don't made up my mind. The next time someone gives me soap as a present, it's... friendship! Finished! Firmly forever! Oh yeah, we've also presented this. Now we can bring this up with that one. Oh, this is the new evidence. Doesn't have anything to say about the photo. Doesn't have anything to say about the autopsy. Well, the medical report. Anything to say about the gas meter? No, okay. Alright, doesn't have anything new to say. Guess that's that then. Time to head to the crime scene. Ah, the puddle was there. Okay. Oh! Hello again, Inspector Gregson. What are you doing here? Well, we were hoping to have another look around, actually. The lawyer representing the defendant has a right to examine the scene, as I'm sure you're aware. Yeah, I know the score. Oh, yes, one other thing. The soap on the ledge outside the window. Did you find it? With the tea in it? Yeah, we found it alright, and there was a small amount of tea in it, as you said. I knew it! There's at the identification section at the yard now. They're looking into it. The results should be available later today. That's wonderful news. Thank you. Pretty impressive performance in court this morning. Sorry? Nothing. Forget it. Just make sure you don't disturb anything in here. Alright. Yeah, there's the puddle. If you ran out of change, you wouldn't even have any light, let alone heat. For the needy, London's winters can be very harsh. That's true. But if you think about it, even the wealthy would find themselves freezing if they ran out of small change. London's winters can be very harsh for the forgetful too, then. Frankly, I'm starting to wonder if Susato-san and I are going to make it to spring. That's true. We don't even have a meter at Baker Street, let alone a gas stove. Look how dark the stain on the floor is underneath the meter there. Yes, from all the water dripping out after the ice coins melted as you established in court this morning. It's a very large and obvious stain, isn't it? Mr. Samsby must have used an awful lot of ice coins, I suppose. It was an ingenious idea, I'll give him that. Are you looking for new clues, Inspector? On Lord Van Zieg's orders, yeah. Don't come back till you've got something for me, he says. Oh dear. Poor you. Yeah, poor me. because we've already searched every bleeding nook and cranny in this place. I don't know what he expects, to be honest. Thank goodness for warm chips is all I can say. Well, at least he's honest. The ale filled the teacups from which the two men drank on the ale fated night. During the heated literary debate, yes. Who's stronger, Romeo or Juliet? Sounds like it was quite a discussion. Now I think of it, I'm sure that the two lovers of the play ended their lives with poison. That's fiction, Mr. Sato. Let's hope it stays that way. So it turns out that Mr. Shamsia wasn't eating the soap at all. That's right. The mystery of why he had it on the plate whilst holding a fork in his hand is solved. Yes, to prise his latest ice coin out of its mold. And in the process, he accidentally broke the bar of soap in two. This certainly was hard to imagine, let alone to use. The sun never shines in this room thanks to that depressing bricked-up window. Yet, with enough determination, you can always remove the bricks to set some soap outside, can't you? That sounds like a very wise life lesson, Mr. Sato. Only if you plan to follow a life of crime, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright, Holmes. Mr. Sholmes, what are you up to over there? What a question indeed. Was it not your good self who asked me to attend the scene? Oi, what are you doing here, Sholmes? What are you up to over there? What are you doing here? Dear me, once a great detective, one is always under scrutiny, it seems. It's now the time, Mr. Sholmes. Are you about to show us your forensic talents and actions as you promised? With the greatest of pleasure, my dear madame. What's all this? Oh, this is precisely what you requested, Mr. Naruhodo. Herlock Sholmes' sensational skin print seeker gun. Moments ago, I took a sample from the teacup that was used by the victim. A sample from Mr. Shamsfield's cup. Each individual leaves microscopic secretions on everything he or she touches. A sample of the secretions is all I need to produce this, a refined indicator solution. By liberally spraying the room with this chemical, everything the victim touched is instantly reviewed with the aid of these goggles. Here, try them on. Oh, are we getting luminol? We're getting the luminol mechanics on. There. Now spray the chemical indicator about and all will be reviewed. Spray? How do I do that exactly? A little press of A on the area you're interested in is all that's required. Like this! Or tap the touchscreen. Oh, well, what is that stuff? It's like fog. The suspension of the chemical indicator in a pressurized gas. It's the most efficient way to cover a large area. There was another invention discovered incidentally whilst I was developing this idea. As you do. Go ahead, try it, my dear fellow. We may learn something interesting about the victim's movements on the night in question. Well, there's nothing to lose, I suppose. Let's explore. Luminol time! He definitely touched the window. Did he touch the gas meter? He touched the gas meter. What about the cups? Definitely touched a bunch of stuff. Okay, I think that's everything. Is it everything? Focus on the gas pipes? Should show up. Oh, there we go. Look, there are dozens of handprints here. So there are. A great many indeed. So much so that it's hard to make out any one individual print, in fact. Brr, it sends a chill down my spine. Perhaps he was leaning against the wall while he admired this picture. Unlikely, I would say. It's a rather dull scene, after all. And without wishing to state the obvious, he wouldn't generally admire a picture from such close quarters, I feel. Oh, very true, Miss Susato. It's a bit of a mystery, then. Oh, is it not done? How precise is this spray? Alright, so we might have to like hit very specific spots. Looks like, not just like generally. A chair? Under the table? Gas heater? A hat? Oh, there we go. Oh, look at all this here. Ah, yes. Interesting. A multitude of the victim's handprints. Why are there so many of them on the floor in this one spot? Ooh, perhaps he had a bad fall just here. There's nothing obvious that he would have tripped over, though, is there? I wonder. Personally, I often stumble when there's nothing obvious to trip over. I think that's something only a great detective would do, Mr. Sholmes. Well, this is quite a puzzle. Handprints all over the floor. Yes, there's no obvious explanation. I'm guessing secret passage. Well, we sprayed Mr. Sholmes' amazing skin print indicator all over this room, didn't we? We did. But there are two places in particular that are of interest, I would say. The handprints on the floor there, and on the wall by the picture, you mean? Yes, and I think the floor warrants closer investigation. I won't be a moment. Ah! What is it, Miss Usato? Look here, Mr. Naruhodo. One of the floorboards have popped out. One of the... You mean... It's a secret hiding place? Excellent work, Miss Usato. So, what do we have in here? Oi! What are you lot doing? Inspector Gregson, stand aside right this minute. It's my job to investigate there. No need, Inspector. You continue to dig into your portion of chips whilst we dig our own under the floor here. Your fancy talk's putting me off my food anyway, Sholmes. A new bit of evidence is exactly what I need. We can all look together. Wow, a secret hiding place under the floor. What a find. It's not a hiding place you could make use of in Japan. I don't think I could lift the straw to tummy mat. No, I know, but I never expected one of these wooden floorboards to move either. It's got me wondering about the wall over there too. Aren't you curious? Oh! I'll investigate at once. There's nothing behind the picture, sadly. Only the wall. How disappointing. But then, how do you explain the handprints? I really can't think why anyone would have been touching the wall over and over in one place like that. There you are, a print for you. Thank you very much. This invention can make prints, too. Now then, I wonder if Inspector Gregson has found anything under the floor there. I'm desperate to know. So am I. The telltale heart beneath the floorboards. I mean, there's also this plank over here that's not very well covered, but, you know. Alright, Gregson, what's up? I'd love to know if there's anything hidden underneath that floorboard there. Allow me to ask Gregson now. After all, we're well acquainted. Inspector Gregson! Really, it's been too long. What is it, Sholmes? I thought perhaps you might show me what you found there. Seeing as we're such good friends. We're not friends. No, I suppose not. A dismal failure. Yes, I heard. I'll kill to know what was under that floorboard. Alright then, fair's fair. What? You did discover the hiding place after all. I suppose I should at least fill you in. Really, Inspector. Thank you. Do it quickly, my dear fellow. If there's one thing I know about this man, it's that he blows with the wind, as fickle as the weather. Oi, stop making me out to be some kind of nut. There were 3 items under the floorboard there. A newspaper clipping, a photographic print, and a tin box. Now, what do you want to know? Looks like this was cut out of the paper about 3 months ago. It's about a convict who got sick and died while he was serving time up in Manchester. How terrible. It made the headlines down here in London as well. The bloke had been sentenced to death, you see, but nature got him first. Oh my goodness, he committed a capital offense. A man by the name of Selden, a nasty piece of work into burglaries and murder. They say the hoard he knocked off was worth about £1,000. A hoard? Of treasure, you mean? Jewelry and the like, but he'd hidden it somewhere, and no one knows where. And now he's dead. The papers loved it, of course. £1,000 lost en route to hell, or some such was the headline. Does it not strike you, though? Why such an article would be so carefully ensconced under the floor? I suppose now you mention it, it does seem a bit odd. Perhaps I'll go over the paperwork I've got and sell it back at the yard and see if I can turn anything up. £1,000 is minimum wage these days. Yeah. Soseki's mentioned a capital convict living in his room before. So is this guy... Did this guy live here? Is his stash hidden somewhere in this apartment building? I wonder. Though I'm not sure what that has to do with this whole case yet, but So, here's the photograph I found. Looks reasonably recent to me. How's the lawyer going about? Pretty exciting. We're uncovering new details, and we're just along for the ride. Yes, it would appear to have been taken on the street in front of the house here. And the gentleman on the left is Mr. Garadab, the landlord, of course. But who's the young man on the right? Mr. Garadab's son, perhaps? Perhaps. You can take that print if you like. Really? Are you sure? We can presume, therefore, that the yard already knows. The identity of the young fellow, that is. Ah! Is that true? Well, it's too bad if we do. Unfortunately for you, Lord, leaking information is one of my pastimes. My dear Inspector, if I may be so bold as to point something out. Pastimes are for one's leisure, but this is for work. All the more reason I'm not telling you. A dismal failure. Yes, I heard. Yeah, let's take a close look at it. I wonder why a photograph like this was hidden under the floor. I mean, Mr. Shanster himself isn't in it. Photographic prints are still rare treasures in the East End. I imagine Mr. Garrett was rather delighted to have been immortalized. He probably made a proud present of it. Yeah, let me take a look at that. The hair is similar, and so are the clothes. Relative, maybe? Maybe olive green is related to them? Now this tin box looks interesting, doesn't it? Might I suggest, Inspector? Could you open it? If you were to find something inside that reveals the truth behind this case, I wouldn't be the least surprised. It's not olive green itself, in case you're wondering. Well, no, obviously. I mean, that's a dude. Right? Yeah, funnily enough, I've already had a look. It's completely empty. What? Shamspear! Give us a clue, man! You didn't even have the chance to utter a word, Mr. Naruhodo. But anyway, at least we found out what's inside the box. Yes, thin air. It's empty, rather like how I feel inside. Is there nothing more to this box then? I wonder. Waga Haiwa! We've already had the name drop, so... No more of that. Oh look! It's that lovely little kitty cat! What was its name? It's Mr. Natsume's, isn't it? I don't think we ever asked him, actually. Why don't we call it, Wagahai what? You know, like Mr. Natsume refers to himself in Japanese. I wonder how he got in here. Clever cat. Oh, wonderful. Well then, Wagahai, here's something delicious I brought you from the cat's meat man. How did the cat get in here, though? He couldn't be happier now, look. I just hope he can bring some happiness to his owner, too. Cute cat. Yes, a little ribbon, too. That was a cheeky little meow, Wagahai. Oh, but he's so adorable. I could sit and watch him forever. I think he may not appreciate that after a while, and we have an investigation to get back to. Oh, we're not looking up there? Because how did the cat get in here? He came out from behind the stage, maybe? I guess we're done here then. At least for now. I'll check in with the landlord. Mr. Garrett appears to be out. Oh well. I suppose we'll just have to come back again later. Okay, guess not. Maybe we go back to Miss Green? Now that we have the photograph? No. Okay, there's something we're missing in here. Or not. He died in prison. Oh! I think... Okay, so, was Natsume... Was Soseki talking about his prison cell? Like, was that where this dude... this dude was in that holding cell before? That's what he meant, right? Probably. Well, I can't see anything else you need to examine here, so I guess maybe we'll check the road outside. Nope. Huh. I guess we are missing something in this room. I feel like we've scanned every inch of this room already, though. I guess we go back to Soseki. Maybe we present him with the new stuff? Ah, there we go. What's this? It's a newspaper cutting that we found in Mr. Shamspier's room. So he knew, did he? Sorry? About this man, Selden. A convicted killer, and the evil spirit behind the curse that afflicts my lodgings! Oh, he's talking about his lodgings. What? He's already taken one young man's life, and now he's trying to take the life of another. A miserable, mustached, much maligned Japanese man. Mr. Natsume, if you know something, please. You must tell us. Tell us everything you can about this evil spirit. Alright, there we go. There's our next lead. The truth is, I didn't know the details myself until very recently. That Selden man was arrested about a year ago now. And at the time, he was hiding out in lodgings. At Mr. Gardab's house. What? You live? Where you do now? That's right, yes. Exactly where I live now. In my very room. Oh my. Your room was previously occupied by a criminal found guilty of capital offense. But before his sentence could be carried out, he died in prison. That was 3 months ago now. And that's when it started. The curse. What really is this curse you keep mentioning, Mr. Natsume? It's already caused one death, a few months after the criminal passed away in prison. A man died in the room. The man who rented it after Selden, in fact. The poor lodger. He was found dead in mysterious circumstances. The room was locked from the inside. Locked from the inside? Exactly like the case we're dealing with now. So, that's the convict's curse, is it? Yes, well, that was the start of it. Interesting. Do you have any idea how the lodger before you passed away, Mr. Natsume? The official cause of death was asphyxia. When they discovered the body, the room was full of gas. Ah, gas. I only found that out after I'd signed the lease. When Mr. Garrett came to tell me later, I couldn't stop myself trembling. In fact, if I'd known beforehand, I'd probably have been too scared to take the room. Landlord's lease, luckily legal! Lucky for Mr. Garrett, maybe. But not so lucky for poor Mr. Natsume. And now you believe this curse is affecting you. It is. At first, I just felt as though I was being watched all the time. And then you talked about having nightmares, didn't you? The dead are trying to take me with them. They come for me and try to suffocate me. Just when I'm struggling to breathe, I wake up. And the room is as cold as ice! But why is your room so cold? London winters are too cold to bear without any heating on overnight. For some reason, even though I light the stove before I climb into bed at night, the pipe light always goes out and the room fills with gas. But that's terrible. That's exactly the same situation as what led to the previous occupant's death. And then there's what happened to Mr. Shamsphere last night, when he was mysteriously poisoned. There's clearly more to that incident that can be explained by a curse, though. Whatever can be the cause of all these strange happenings in Mr. Gerardap's rooms. Sounds like leaky gas pipes, huh? Although I'm not sure what that has to do with the murderer. Since he died of a fever in prison, so he didn't die of, like, asphyxiation. Unless he had a condition that was worsened by inhaling a bunch of gas pipes. Sounds like the gas pipes are leaky and people in all the rooms are dying. You know? The source of the gas going off is more interesting than that. I wonder. I guess we should ask Mr. Gerardap. Why are your pipes so leaky, man? Oh, you're here now, Mr. Gerardap. Right bally business it is for me, you know. Getting out and about. Were you at the Old Bailey by any chance? Naturally. Fate of my lodgings hanging in the balance and all that. Not a trial to miss. The fate of what's already been dubbed your haunted lodgings, yes. Of course, the place has caused quite a stir around the capital on more than one occasion already. As the old haunted lodgings or some such... well, at least he knows. Makes you wonder what the blazes is going on, don't you know? Yes, I'm sure it does. In fact, thinking back to Miss Natsume's other trial just 2 days ago. You were at the Old Bailey then as well, weren't you? Testifying with your wife about what happened. Stopped off at the prison on the way home, in fact. Beastly business. I see. To see his wife. So, what brings you to my haunted abode today, eh? Some fishy fellows in the Far East and a failed actor chap of questionable character, eh? Yes, the house does seem to have become something of a magnet for rum fellows of late. Thanks to that bully curse. The convict's curse, you mean? Heard the stories, have you? Rotten scoundrel was arrested here, then the next chap in the room goes and keels over. Then there was that woman who dropped dead just outside on the street, not to mention the actor yesterday. Am I next, eh? Well, can't help but get the collie wobbles, can you? When you say the woman who dropped dead outside on the street, do you mean Miss Green? Because Miss Green, who was stabbed by the knife, and Mr. Shamsier, who was poisoned last night, are both very much alive still. Yes, well, so is the blasted convict's curse, it seems. Personally, I should be quite content with such lodgings. A bath, a toilet, a fireplace, a fascinating history. Why? It sounds like a lap of luxury. I'm not so sure about that. Well, there's no bath or toilet included, and no fireplace either. But you do look out for your tenants, don't you? By watching the rise and fall of the flames in your gas lamps up here. Yes, never hurts to keep an eye on things. In case there are any mishaps or such like. I think I've had your mishap already, sir. That's not helpful, Mr. Sholmes. Heavens forgive me. The words just came to my lips. Some fishy fellows from the Far East and a failed actor chap of questionable character, eh? There's no need for that, Mr. Gerardap. That's right. This Natsume is in no way fishy. He is undeniably peculiar, however. Is it right that he took the vacancy immediately after the previous tenant passed away? Yes, that's right. I asked the estate agent to find someone and he popped up the very same day. Never come across a chap so keen for a place with a background, as it were. I don't think it was the room's background he was keen on so much as the cheap rent, actually. So, how long has Mr. Shamsi been lodging under your roof? That failed actor chap? Let me see. Oh, of course. Yes, it's been 3 months now. Quite sure of it. Only 3 months. He's quite new here too, then. And to what do you owe your certainty in that regard, Mr. Garrett, if I may ask? Well, it was that Selden scoundrel as it happens. Selden? The convict, you mean? Do Selden and Shakespeare have some kind of connection, then? The convict chap, Selden, passed away in the clink 3 months ago now, you see. Some malady or other. Yes, we've seen the report on the newspaper at the time. Well, it was only 3 days later that the tragedy unshowed his face. The actor fellow. Really? Yes, I remember it quite distinctly. 'Tis small, this world we inhabit. Pretty landlord, hear my request. I, the humble Shamspear, desire to take thy room on the middle floor, offered Earthwell for rent. Terribly sorry and whatnot, but that won't be possible. Already have a lodger on the middle floor. Ground floor room's vacant though. Nothing can be made out of nothing. Let me repeat mine will once again. Those crows must be muffling your ears. The room on the middle floor is taken. It's ground floor and nothing. Very well, we have an accord. Glad to hear it. Welcome to Briar Road. Lo, a Shamspear dance to celebrate. From what I heard in court today, sounds like the chap was thieving gas. And he was 3 months in arrears with the rent too. Yes, the fellow was a bally player, alright. Thank you for your candor, Mr. Garrett. We are most grateful. By way of appreciation, allow me to say 1 or 2 words. Give me my robe, put on my crown. I have immortal lodgings in thee. What's happened to you? Shakespeare, my dear fellow. One of his most famous lines. They gave him a unique animation for that. That's great. Okay, I see where this is going. I can put it together. I see where this is going. Shamspear wants to get into the middle room because he wants to follow up on the treasure, right? He wants to find the stash that Selden left, and he probably left it in that room. Then first that one guy dies under mysterious circumstances, and then now Natsume-san is experiencing weird gas poisoning. Coincidence? I think not. There was a home story that was similar to this too, like a case of like trying to drive a specific person like in a room to death or out of the room. The 3 Gyarados. Yep, that is exactly the one. So, in the end, the name was relevant after all. Yep. That's what we're playing with, eh? Okay. I wish to divulge my own learning of the subject, for I have a turn for literature too, you know. Perhaps you could turn your attention to more apt lines then. So, Shamspear. Let me guess, you are piping gas into the other room. You're doing terrible things with your gas pipes. Mr. Garrett, could I ask you to look at this photograph? Is that your son who's with you there? No, not at all. He was a lodger here once. Duncan Ross was his name. Duncan Ross? A street photographer happened to be passing, so I asked him to take a shot. Just for kicks, really. Was he by any chance the lodger before Mr. Natsume? Yes, that's right. Ah, the young gentleman who died in the room in mysterious circumstances. Just what Mr. Mustache was waiting for, one might say. Yes, young Duncan lived in the room at the top of the first flight of stairs before the Japanese chap. Would you mind telling us a little more about him? Yes, Duncan Ross. Young chap was attending art school. Had to work to pay for it, mind. Moved into the middle floor room about a year ago, after the criminal Selden was arrested. Young students are always on the hunt for rooms with a history behind them. A history of cheap rent, maybe, yes. Yes, well, anyway. It was one morning about a month ago now. Hadn't quite worked out the old trick of watching the gas lamp to see what my lodgers are up to at the time. So sadly, I was rather tardy to discover what had happened. The smell of gas that alerted me, it was. Ah, yes. Synonymous with the smell of death. Called the police straight away, of course, and the officer kicked the door off its hinges. But once we got inside, we all badly collapsed. Because of the gas. Yes, room was full of it. No air at all. Stove must have gone out while the poor chap was sleeping in his bed. So Mr. Ross suffocated to death. Of course, the police gave me a sound ticking off because the gas pipes are so old and all that. Can't tell you how much it set me back to have the lot replaced all over the house. But even after he had all that work done, Mr. Natsume says the same thing. That the stove goes out at night while he's asleep in bed. Well, that's the bally curse! The convict's curse! I've done my duty as a landlord now! Someone's feeling defensive. You know what? Fair. I would be too. Ah, that reminds me actually. Yes? About young Duncan, the night before the poor chap perished. He'd been writing a letter. A letter of affection to a young lady. A love letter, you mean? Yes. Where did I put it now? Ah, here it is. Left it on my desk. If you'll excuse me. Let me see now. What does it say? To my most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Do you think that we should be reading such a personal piece of correspondence? My dear Miss Susato, that is precisely I preface my reading with, if you'll excuse me. I will not excuse you, Mr. Sholmes, no. Sadly, he didn't address it, though. So I have no means of delivering the thing. Rather sad, really. I see. What's going to play on my mind? It's Olive, isn't it? But really, the identity of Mr. Ross's sweetheart has no bearing on the case. I think we should leave it well alone. Yes, I suppose you're right. Indeed, the intended recipient's address is missing. However, there is a name attributed to the man's most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Mr. Sholmes, please! I've already had to chastise you about this once. My undying love to you, my colorful darling. Olive Green. Ah! Olive Green? The woman who was plunged into a coma after a knife plunged into her back outside this house 5 days ago. The victim of the last case Oseki-san was in court for, who regained consciousness only yesterday. Is it just chance that her name has come up now? Could it possibly be a mere coincidence? Mr. Naruhodo, whatever can this mean? Reading personal correspondence can have its merits, you see, Mrs. Sato. Oh, I guess we go see him. Yeah, we'll go see Miss Olive Queen. Mr. Naruhodo, I've just finished speaking with the doctor. It seems Miss Green is well enough to be discharged at last. This is good news, but hopefully just before she leaves. Ah! What is it? Miss Green! What was that? She clearly just hit something behind her back. One moment. I'll be with you in a jiffy. Oh. Hello, everyone. What are you all doing here? The doctor has said I can be discharged, so I'm just getting my things together. Miss Green, what were you just doing? Oh, nothing, really. I was just about to take some medicine the doctor prescribed for me, that's all. Well, we were hoping to have another quick chat with you, if that's alright. I don't really have anything else to tell you. Alright, she is definitely behaving strangely. Let's see if we can coax something out of her. Miss Green, we were hoping to ask you about someone. Mr. Duncan Ross. You knew him, didn't you? Oh no! I'm so sorry! The bottle of medicine fell down when she did. Oh, Miss Green, are you alright? Man, what medicines are that color though? Like, I know some cough syrups are that color. I've had cough syrups that were that color when I was a kid. But that's a rare color for a medicine to be, huh? Although I guess you could dye medicine colors, right? Right, chat, do people dye certain medicine, certain colors to, like, for identification purposes, or, you know, or to, like, keep kids out and stuff? Is that a thing they do? Now I'm curious. I'll look it up after the stream. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to startle you like that. No, it's alright. I just wasn't expecting it. But how do you know about Duncan? Mr. Ross had been writing a letter when he passed away. The landlord found it in his room. It was a very personal letter to you. It was at the art school. That's where I met Duncan, a year ago now. He was working to fund his studies. He dreamt of becoming a professional artist one day. And the two of you became romantically involved? Yes, that's right. You were very much in love. You were engaged to be married, actually. That's why he decided to move into a cheaper room, to save money for the wedding. And that's what led him to Mr. Garadeb's... Yep, he told me he found the worst but cheapest room in the entire East End. And then, 1 month ago, that's when it happened. We're so terribly sorry, Miss Green. Well, it's all in the past now, I suppose. Poor Miss Green. She looks desperately sad. I was starting to think that's just her look. But now I see that she has every reason to feel the universe is against her. It's wonderful news that you're going to be discharged, Miss Green. Oh yes, I mean, thank you. Once people are better, the hospital staff don't want them lingering and wasting space. Not people like me, anyway. So I don't think I should keep anyone waiting. I probably shouldn't stand around and chat. She certainly doesn't seem to be in the mood to talk, that's for sure. I do hope you won't think I'm being rude, but... Would you mind leaving me in peace now? I have to leave the hospital soon. Oh, I'm so sorry. We didn't mean to hold you up. Of course, we'll be on our way. Mr. Naruhodo! Surely you were not about to leave. That's quite out of the question. Why is the rat dead? But, Mr. Sholmes, I didn't realize you were here. But of course I was, my dear fellow. Watching intently from the shadows as always. Well, make your presence known next time. Mr. Sholmes, what's this about? Something which occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Sato, is this. Why do detectives insist on such an ex post facto modus operandi? Why solve a case after it's happened, instead of preventing a case before it happens? That is what sets a great detective apart. What do you mean? There is a case waiting to happen under our very noses, Mr. Naruhodo. So let us avert disaster. Let us prevent this case from ever happening. With nothing but careful observation. Alright. All the clues you need are set before you. You need only look, and you cannot fail to see. You can do it, Mr. Naruhodo. I know you can. I mean... There's something very clearly it's this letter! It definitely feels as though this card must be relevant. I mean, when we first arrived, Miss Green was standing with it in her hand in what can only be described as a very tense atmosphere. Yes. It may very well be related to whatever incident Mr. Jones believes is about to happen here. Perhaps you should ask Miss Green about it. Before we look at the obvious, I guess. Neither the sender's name nor address appear to be written on the envelope of the card. Hey, hang on! It arrived by post at my home the day before the incident that put me in hospital here. I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 PM on the 17th. Don't tell anybody else about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. Wait a minute. The 17th of this month? That's the day... That's the day you were stabbed on Briar Road. And 5 p.m. It's precisely the time when the incident occurred. Wow, that's a huge coincidence though, isn't it? Right? Unless we're saying that wasn't an accident? I'm fairly certain that's what happened. The Slug Salad, yes. A pub on the northern corner of Briar Road. Briar Road? Being the street that Mr. Gradov's house is on. Does this mean that... Yes, I'm sure you've guessed. That day, when I was struck in the back by the knife, I was actually on my way to the Slug and Salad. Goodness. So that's what you were doing on Briar Road that day. I'm sorry I didn't say anything before. Mr. Duncan Ross. Who would ever have thought he was engaged to be married to Miss Green? To lose one's beloved fiancé must be painful enough. But then Miss Green suffered that awful injury, and outside her fiancé's former lodgings too. Fate can be very cruel sometimes. Alright, the obvious. That mouse seems to be dead. Look, I didn't notice it there before, did you? I think perhaps it drank the medicine that spilled out of the bottle. But that's... the bottle that Miss Green was about to drink from when we arrived. You don't think... Ah, I see you've come to appreciate the true nature of this scene. That of a tragedy about to take place. Yes, I think it's falling into place. Miss Green, the contents of the bottle you had before has spilled out on the floor, and the poor mouse that drank it has sadly died. Ah! I think it's clear that the bottle must have contained a powerful poison. Don't worry. I will attend to the mouse presently. We're gonna clean it up. Miss Green, were you intending to go the same way as that rodent? To take your own life? Ah! Once we'd left, you would have put it to your lips again, wouldn't you? And taken the poison. No! Miss Green, please! Please talk to us! Ten seconds later, and we would have arrived at a very different scene here. In all probability, we would not have enjoyed this most delightful conversation. Of course, perhaps it hasn't been quite so delightful from your perspective, Miss Green. Actually, in a way, now that everything's out in the open, I feel like a weight has been lifted. Tell me, how did you acquire that medicine? Well, with this being a hospital and all, when the doctor comes to examine me in the mornings, he always leaves the medicine cabinet open for a while, so I snuck this out when he wasn't looking. It conspicuously lacks a label. I wonder what it contains. I'm afraid I don't really know, but I thought if I drank it, it might just stop the pain somehow. Damn, that's dark. Oh please, Miss Green, don't talk of such things. Well, it seems clear now that it contains poison. Yes, that poor little mouse is proof of that. Oh no. Oh, it's all my fault. What have I done? I shall remove this to my office, Miss Green. I take it you have no objection? No, none. And before it's strychnine. I think I really will have to ask you to excuse me now. I've told you everything. Yes, I'm very sorry to have to drag up such painful memories for you. No, it's fine. She knows what's in that bottle. It's probably strychnine, right? And that's gonna be relevant because, like, you know, it's gonna be the same poison that was used over there, so Huh. If we go by the theory that Shamspear is trying to empty the middle room of visitors, sorry, of tenants so that he can move to the middle room and look for the treasure there, do you think Olive Green knows that Shamspear is responsible? Do you think she poisoned him with that? Curious. Although the timeline doesn't really add up though, because she got into an accident, and then she was in the hospital this whole time, and she hasn't left the hospital. She hasn't been discharged. No, okay, no, that's a crackpot theory. She hasn't been discharged, so she can't be responsible. Yeah, she can't. She can't. The logic doesn't hold up. She grabbed that medicine when the capitals opened because she wanted to commit suicide. Yeah, got it. Okay. Screen. Please, promise us you won't try to do anything like that again. Yes, don't worry. The detective friend has the bottle now anyway. And besides, I've been stabbed in the back and had a close shave of a bottle of poison, and I'm still here. I think I'm destined to see things through to the end. It might sound a little conceited, but, well, that's how all this has made me feel. She has a clear motive for wanting Shamspear dead, yeah, but I don't see how she could have been involved then, though. Leaving Miss Green and St. Bartholomew's behind, we made our way back to Baker Street with Mrs. Sholmes. Well, it would appear we've reached the end of the investigative trail for today. Yes, it's late. And, Mr. Naruhodo, did you discover anything that may be of use to you in court tomorrow, do you think? Details about Mr. Shamspear, Mr. Garradab's lodgings, the convict Selden. There are many facets to this case, and we're yet to see to the heart of it, if you ask me. That's my feeling, anyway. I can't help wondering about the results of the analysis. Into Miss Anatommy's tea, you mean? Yes, would they have found strychnine and all that? Well, I fear that either way, it would be hard to escape the grip of our friend, Mr. Reaper. Oh dear. Yes, Baron Van Zieks. I keep saying Baron instead of Baroque. Baroque Van Zieks. But I wish you every success, of course. And though I was late to rise this morning, tomorrow will be a new dawn. I intend to spring from my bed at a crisp hour and attend the trial. Mr. Sholmes, you're going to come? Indeed, whatever happens, I shall be there. Assuming my eyelids cooperate in the morning. Well, I think we've done all we can. All that's left is to remain focused and keep fighting for Mr. Natsume's cause until the very end. Intriguing. London, the world's most prosperous city, home to some 6 million people. But away from the razzle-dazzle down back alleys and behind bricked-up windows, the lonely lurk. Soseki-san had battled long and hard of his loneliness during his many months here. And so I felt honor-bound to battle equally hard for my compatriot, to lift the curse that gripped him. As Mr. Sholmes said, tomorrow would be a new dawn. For all of us. To be continued. In court, presumably. Alright, that was an engaging little session. Yep, next will be trial. Alright, chat. We'll look forward to that. We will be back, and we will be back in court, I guess, with Sholmes, apparently. So look forward to that. Alright, have a good one.